So the last of the core components of our website needs to go in now, and that is of course the footer. We're not going to put a lot of information into the footer for the purposes of this website, but it is important to have one there, and in your bigger projects you'll probably want to have some additional links and maybe some privacy information down in your footer as well. So if we go back to our HTML, we've already got the footer tags in there. I'm just going to put in a set of paragraph tags, and then I'm going to use the special symbol to put in our copyright symbol, and then just a little bit of information. Now that'll pop up on our website, on our live preview, but we do need to format it, and we're going to use the same color that we've got up the top there, and maybe change the color of the font and maybe put a little bit of padding around it as well. So let's put that onto the side so we can have a look at our live preview as we work, and go over into our CSS. As always, we'll put in a new rule, and this time it's going to be on the footer. Now remember, this one isn't a class, so we don't need to have that dot at the front, or we don't need to have the hashtag that you'd have if it was an ID. So I'm going to change the color of the font to white. I'm going to change the background color to the same one that we have on the header there. So I'll just find that color that we've got, copy it, and paste it down at the bottom there. And let's put some padding on there. Let's try 25 pixels and then 20 pixels. So that's, of course, remember, 25 top and bottom and 20 from the left and the right. So that's not looking too bad. We'll just leave it like that, keep it nice and simple for our footer. Okay, so we've got our website all done, all of the main components. There's lots of additional things we could do to it. Actually, just looking at it now, I don't really like the color of that overlay. It's a little bit too purple, a little bit too bright. So let's go back in here and just tweak that a little bit more. Need to make sure I'm looking at the right one there. So we've got it on winter. I'm going to make it really nice and subtle. I'm going to copy those colors, paste it onto that one. And it's a very, very subtle effect that we've got now, but it's just enough so that we can make out the text that we have on winter. It's different there, so I will just go back and go into my CSS, just close down that, and I'll copy and paste this again over the top of the summer one, and just change that to summer as well. Okay, so now I think I like that a lot better. It's much cleaner look, much more professional. Okay, so that's looking good. So the next thing I want to do is add in these links, or they're already there as hyperlinks with the A tag, but we need to put in a destination so when we click on them something actually happens. And this visit link here, I want to go to this website, this Lonely Planet website for Switzerland. So I'm going to copy the URL there and just go back into my HTML right up to the top where those links are defined, and they're of course in this section here in our navigation. So I'm going to zoom in there, and remember we've got a number of different components here, but most importantly we have the anchor tag, and in the opening anchor tag we have the href attribute, and that is where I need to paste in that web address that I just copied. After that web address we're going to add another attribute, which is target blank, just like that. And if you remember from the previous website, that's going to make it so that when we click on that link it will open in a new tab. So I'll just close down that tab we've got there, and now I check if I click on that link, it opens up, and it does open up in a new tab, which means we still have our live preview going there. So that's all working perfectly. That's really good. The next thing we want to do is then link these ones internally. So they're going to be linked to part of the website that we already have. And what I want to happen is when I click on summer, it jumps down to this part here, so we have summer there, and the same for winter, it'll jump down to there. Now this is fairly straightforward. It's not really that different to an external link like the one we have there. We just need to give a tag, or provide some way of letting the web browser know where to jump to. And we do this with ID tags, just like we used those ID tags before when we were defining the background images. We're going to use them here for our hyperlinks. So actually that's really convenient because we have already put in these IDs, that one on summer and another one on winter. Now that's just a lucky coincidence for us in this case that we've already put those IDs in, but if you wanted to jump to somewhere else on the page, any other HTML tag, you could put an ID in like this, and you could use that as your reference for your hyperlink. So because we've got that ID already, we just need to go back up to our links here, and the code that you need to create an internal link is just very much the same as you have for an external link, except you start with the hash symbol because it's an ID, and then you put the name of the tag. So that one will be winter, and this one will be hash summer. Right, so as we always do, let's go back and check and test that that's working. I click on summer, it jumps straight there. I click on winter, it jumps straight there. Click on visit, and it opens up in a new tab. Perfect. Another thing we might want to do is put a link on this heading here, so that when we click on it, no matter where we are on the page, it'll jump back up to the top. So very much the same principles as we just used there. We need to work out where we want to put the ID first of all though. And the tricky thing with this is you can't put it on the header itself, because you can see that all of the time. So when you jump back up to that point, it's not going to move. So we need to go back up to the top and think about the highest HTML element that we have, and it is of course this section here which defines this background image, and that's our hero section. So I'm going to go back into my HTML and find this section here. So just as I said, it's the section which we've called hero image, and I'm going to put another ID in there, and I'm going to call this one top. That's because it's up at the top of the screen, and it's going to make it nice and easy for us to go up there. So where do I need to put the link now? I need to that's defined the ID, that's the destination that we want to go to, and what are we going to click on? We're going to be clicking on this text here for Switzerland, so that means we're going to need to put in some anchor tags around that. So inside the h1 tag, I'm going to put my a tag, then my href attribute equals hash symbol, and then the ID name, which is top. Close those quotes and close that opening a tag. And as brackets always does, it's put in this closing a tag, which we're going to need to move to after the text Switzerland. So that means now we'll be able to click on Switzerland, and it will take us to this ID top, which we've defined as that hero image at the start. So let's test that one out. You can see here it's changed the formatting because that's now the default anchor tag formatting. We'll look at that in just a second. So let's jump down to summer, winter, and see if that's working back up to the top. So that's all working nicely. Now the only thing we need to fix up is that formatting of the Switzerland button. So if we think about the formatting that we had on this button before, because it's an h1 tag and it's in the header section, if we look at our HTML, you can see we already have this set of rules here which apply to the h1 tag and that which is inside the header. Now why has it changed to that? That's the default formatting for the anchor tag, and because we had this part here, all of the anchor tags within the nav section, if you look at our HTML, that header, or that h1 tag, is just above the nav section, so it's not going to apply to it. But what we can do is we can just put an A after that, and that's going to mean that this set of rules here is going to apply to all of the anchor tags that are nested within the h1 tags that are nested within the header, which is this part here of course. So that's made it bigger again, 200%, floated left, and it's given it the same padding. We just need to change the color to white and remove the text decoration. And now it's back to normal. That's looking pretty good. So that's basically it. Now our website is functional, it's working, we've got all of our links active. There is a bit of refinement we can do to some of our coding. We can make it a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more efficient. We also could look at changing some of the formatting, maybe adding some hover effects on these images, and in the next video we'll actually have a look at how we can create some simple animations by importing an external style sheet. So make sure you've got up to this point, make sure you understand what all of the pieces of code are doing, and do check if you're not entirely sure what's happening at each stage, because we have gone through quite quickly and introduced a lot of really interesting and important concepts in this set of videos.